NATO vows to do everything necessary to protect Allied territory, following Poland's airspace breach?
Here's a summary of the article.
Telewizja Polska SA processes your personal data collected when you visit individual websites on the TVP. Telewizja Polska, IAB trusted partners and other TVP trusted partners process your data for the purposes of functions and special functions. You have the right to request access, rectification, deletion or limitation of data processing. Consent to the use of data for some IAB trusted partners and TVP trusted partners may be related to the transfer of data to the United States or other third countries. In connection with the above, we would like to inform you about the possible risk that may be associated with the transfer of data to third countries, consisting in the possible lack of an adequate level of protection of natural persons related to the processing of their personal data, which is guaranteed by the provisions of the GDPR, due to the lack of an adequacy decision by the European Commission and the lack of adequate security. The user's personal data processed by TVP may be processed both on the basis of the user's consent as well as on the basis of a legitimate interest, i.e. without the consent of the portal user. TVP processes user data on the basis of a legitimate interest only in situations where it is necessary for the provision and proper operation of the portal, i.e. maintenance and technical support of the portal, ensuring security, preventing fraud and removing errors, statistical measurements necessary for the proper functioning of the portal.
This post received a score of 8,000, with an upvote ratio of 97%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
NATO is in close contact with the Polish government and will do everything necessary to maintain the security of its members' territory, a NATO source told PAP following the incursion into Polish airspace of 2 Belarusian military helicopters on Tuesday. NATO is carefully monitoring the situation along its eastern flank, including Tuesday's incident, the NATO headquarters source said on Wednesday. Following the breach, Poland's defense minister convened a sitting of the Committee for National Security and Defense Affairs, as a result of which troop numbers were increased along Poland's border with Belarus and additional assets deployed, including combat helicopters. A deputy defense minister described the event on Wednesday morning as a provocation aimed at Poland and the eastern flank of NATO.
Makes me wonder if the helicopters dropped small groups of commando-style fighters for critical infrastructure sabotage or something worse. Could they hello in a dirty bomb?
There are far easier and more subtle ways to get things over a land border, even one that's controlled, than flying helicopters into their airspace.
This is just Russia and/or Belarus testing NATO response. Brinksmanship is an age-old tactic used to suss out an army's tactical response, if any, their capabilities, and their government's level of anger response. It's a game played out over the centuries, but obviously the stakes are much higher these days. My US and wet neighbor has shared some wild stories of these extremely common tactics, most of which never see the light of day in the press.
The amount of times we bump into Russian or Chinese subs in the Pacific is ridiculous lol. Reporting each one would be a paperwork nightmare.
My brother's in the US Navy, and according to him, as a result of the Kursk incident, every Russian sub has a surface support vessel near them. So, all the US needs to do to find Russian subs is to find the surface ships.
Doesn't that defeat the whole purpose of a sub?
Yes, which is why the USN finds it so funny they can track the subs by looking for the support ships. They also don't perform maintenance on their vessels. He shared a story where the now sunk Moskva would try to shadow US patrol vessels in the Black Sea, but it couldn't catch up. The engines eventually blew out and it had to be towed back to Sevastopol.
The funny thing is that 2 years ago we would have speculated that they have more advanced subs that we can't detect and that the support ships are a diversion or something. Now we just think they are stupid.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.